sharper. Perfect. You can start lying down if you want. Okay. Get started. Starting in Shavasana. If it's comfortable, lying down on your back. And we're just going to start doing some box breathing. And that is just the inhaling, holding your breath in, exhaling, and holding the breath out, all for the same count. So like in your mind, you can imagine that, 4 things of equal length, like a square or a box. That's why it's called box breathing. So, lying here, starting to just notice your breath without changing it or controlling it yet. Just wanted to give you a heads up of what's coming. And start to notice gravity on your body. Feel the connection of your back to the floor and your mat. Feel heavy here. This morning, just tap into how you're feeling. Notice your energy levels. And so with the offerings here today, I will be demonstrating more vigorous postures. And my beautiful model here will be working to his level, not necessarily so deep into stretches or strengthening. So if you need a visual, you can take a look at the differences in our body shapes and our ranges of motion. And that's all it is. And wherever you are in your body, taking whatever shape it is right for you, know that there's no one thing to work towards, and there's no one way the shape is supposed to look. And with that, if you ever feel pain beyond stretching, pull back and stop. Do what's right for you. And we'll go ahead and start with our box breathing. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth here. Inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in at the top. If you need to sip in a little bit more, go for it. For 2, 3, 4. And then slowly exhale through the mouth. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it out. For 2, 3, 4. Inhaling through the nose. For 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in at the top. 3, 2, 1. Slowly exhale through the mouth. 2, 3, 4. And hold it out. 4, 3, 2, 1. And take a normal, regular belly breath in here as a recovery breath. Big inhale, big exhale. At your own pace. And we'll get right back into it. Inhaling through the nose for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding it in at the tippy top. 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding it out. 3, 2, 1. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding it in for 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. And holding it out for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then take a big belly breath in, filling up your chest and your belly, and open the mouth and sigh it all out. Then as you're feeling ready, go ahead and wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe rolling through the wrists, maybe bending the elbows. And then maybe reaching your arms up and overhead. And nice full body stretch here. And then keeping your arms overhead. If you can have them touch down overhead, that's great. But if your shoulders won't let you, do what you can here, holding them above your head, maybe in line with your ears, and start to flex through your feet and engage through the legs. Feeling strong line of energy from your fingertips through your heels. And then start to walk your feet over to the left, both feet. So you're walking your left foot over to the left and your right foot follows it. And you can go all over the edge of your mat or off your mat. And then start walking your hands over to the left. Your left arm out to the left. And then your right arm will meet it. Keeping your arms and legs straight if you can. Maybe turn your head slightly over to the left as well. So you're getting a full body stretch on the right side since we're all walking over to the left. Staying here, or if you need more, go ahead and grab your right wrist with your left hand and encourage it over to the left even more. And if you need more here, you can cross your right ankle and foot over your left ankle and foot for even more of a stretch through that right side body. I'm going to take a couple deep breaths here at your own pace. Just try to fill up your belly. Easing into the stretch, not taking anything too far, as we're going to stay here for a few moments. This is banana asana. Turn it into a little banana. And just notice where you feel this stretch. You might feel it in the hip. You might feel it in the side, belly, or the ribs, maybe the shoulder. Maybe all of the above. One more big belly breath in here through the nose. And slowly let it out through the nose. On your next inhale, start walking your hands and your feet back through center. Arms still up in line with your ears. We'll do one long reach from the fingertips to the heels again. to reset before we go straight into the other side. Coming into it slowly. Start walking your right foot over to the right, maybe off your mat, maybe it's the edge, and then start walking your left foot to meet it over to the right. Keeping your butt on the ground where it is, where it was in Shavasana if you can. Walk your right hand over to the right, maybe walking your left hand over to meet it. Finding this curve in the side body. And by the side body, I mean your side. Maybe grabbing your left wrist with your right hand to encourage even more of that lateral stretch. If you need more, you can cross your left foot and ankle over your right. Breathing here. Big belly breath in. Easing into this side stretch. Notice how the side feels different. You might feel stronger stretch in one place in particular, or just might feel less awkward or more awkward. Trying to fill up your belly in each breath in. Easing into the start of our lateral stretching, which we're going to do quite a bit of here in a minute. Slowly easing into it. One big full belly breath in together. And all the way up. Slowly exhale through the nose. On your next inhale, slowly start to walk your hands and your feet back through center. One more stretch. Reach with the arms and the feet away from each other. And then bring your hands down by your sides. And start to bend your knees, planting the soles of the feet on the ground. And then when you're ready, go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Maybe give yourself a little rock side to side. Maybe draw some circles on the ceiling with your knees. Whatever feels good to you. Or maybe just hugging those knees in, finding a long spine, playing around with trying to keep your hips on the ground. A lot of times they'll pop right up. Now coming back to stillness here. Take an inhale to release your arms and bring them out to the side, away from your hips, sort of creating a 45-degree angle at your shoulder with your armpit, so that your arms are off the mat if you have the space. And then start to bring your knees forward away from your hips so that you can stack them in line. Knee down to hip in one line. And then engaging those lower legs and feet to make a reverse tabletop position. 90-degree angle with your knees. Holding here is a great place to be. Starting to engage through the core, drawing that belly button down to your spine. Maybe We're going to start rocking our knees side to side slowly. Taking a breath here to inhale. And as you exhale, let your knees start to fall over to the left, any amount. Trying to keep your shoulders in place with your arms as those kickstands. And then inhaling your knees back through center. And then exhaling your knees over to the right. Inhaling back through center. Exhaling the knees over to the left. Inhaling through center. Exhaling knees over to the right. Inhaling back through center. Staying with this rhythm. Maybe increasing your range of motion where your knees go further and further down to the ground as you let them cross over your body. Or if you need more, start to straighten your legs. And do this with straight legs. Exhaling over to the left and inhaling through center. Exhaling the right. Inhaling through center. 2 more like this. At your own pace. Exhaling over. Inhaling through center. Exhaling over. Inhaling through center. Last one. Inhaling through center. Inhaling through center here. Put your knees into your chest. Let that go. And we're going to go ahead and rock and roll up and down the spine. Getting a little momentum here. Coming up to a seated position. Crossing your legs. Here, coming into Sukhasana. And if that's not comfortable for you, you can choose a different seated position, or you can take a moment to roll up the back of your mat to have something to sit up on. Here in Sukhasana, the traditional pose is to stack your feet and your knees crossing at the shins, but you can always cross at the ankles if that feels more comfortable for you. Just having some options there. And then wiggle for a minute, finding your center, wiggling side to side to find where your sits bones really start to ground down. And you're able to find balance here and sitting up nice and tall, a long spine. And then just shift forward and back for a moment and find that place where your shoulders are right above your hips. It might be further back than you think. Your hands can be on your knees. We'll just take one big belly breath in here. And then open the mouth and let it out. And then start to bring both arms up and overhead. Go ahead and sweep them up and overhead. Try to keep your foundation of all through your torso steady here. And then release your left hand down to the mat right by your hip. And start to reach that right hand even more up to the sky and start to tip over to the left, reaching that right hand overhead to the left. Any amount. If you need more, you can start walking those left fingertips over to the left. Bending at the elbow here, trying to keep both hips grounded, keeping that right hip on the ground. And then once you've found that good side stretch here, you can release this right hand down to the ground by your right side, fingertips maybe touching the ground, and using this arm, the weight of the arm to ground through your neck. And release your head so that your left ear is reaching towards the ground, any amount, to get a nice neck stretch along with this lateral stretch. Breathing here, filling your belly up on the inhales, and easing into it on the exhales. One more big breath in. Slow exhale. On your next inhale, go ahead and start to bring your torso upright slowly. You can let your chin fall towards your chest as you come up to seated if that feels good. Slowly releasing out of it without taking too much strain in the neck. And sitting here, getting ready for the other side. We'll go right into it. Inhaling, sweeping your arms up and up overhead, reaching your fingertips to the sky, and grounding down through your torso. And then start to let your body shift over to the right, releasing those right fingertips down to the ground. Staying here and reaching up for a moment before releasing into that stretch even more. Maybe walking those fingertips out to the right, any amount. Trying to keep both hips grounded. Don't let any cheeks come off the mat. Breathing here for one more breath. And then when you're ready, go ahead and release that left hand down your left side. Maybe your fingertips reach the ground here. And then release that head. Let your right ear fall down to the ground. Any amount here. Breathing at your own pace, but trying to fill your belly and your chest up on your inhales and exhaling slowly. Maybe closing your eyes here for a moment and notice where along your whole side that you feel the biggest stretch. One more big belly breath in. And as you're ready, on your next inhale, starting to come back to seated. Maybe releasing your chin down towards your chest before coming all the way up. Then coming up through seated, I'm going to roll over the knees to come up into a tabletop position. Here in your tabletop or your all fours position, stacking your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. This traditional table, and this might not necessarily work for your body, and just notice here if anything feels tight, and if you widened your knees here, you found more stability, or maybe you've spun your fingertips out away from center or in. Just play around with it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a particular shape, as long as you feel stable and comfortable. We'll go through a few rounds of cat-cow here. Inhaling your chest forward, your hips up, belly down for cow. Inhale, expanding through that belly. And then rounding your back, squeezing out that air on your exhale. Inhaling for your cow, chest up, look forward. Exhaling for your cat, squeeze out all the air. Two more like this. Inhaling through cow. And exhaling through cat. Inhaling through cow. And exhaling through cat. And then coming back to your tabletop position. Finding a long spine here. And then we're going to do some lateral side crunches. So start to look over your left shoulder and let your torso come with your gaze. As you start to look left, crunch in that left side, keeping your hips where they are. See if you can start to crunch your left side as you stretch out the right. And then inhale back through center. And then as you exhale, start looking over your right shoulder, keeping a long spine here. Just finding that side, that lateral movement, keeping your hips stable. Try to reach your head towards your hip. And inhaling back through center. And we'll do that with the breath a few times. Exhaling for the side crunch. And inhaling through center at your own pace, switching side to side. Exhaling to the opposite side. Inhaling through center. 2 more times like this. Exhaling to the opposite side. Inhaling through center. Exhaling to the other side. Inhaling through center. Exhaling for that side crunch. Inhale through center. Last one. Exhaling to that opposite side. And inhaling through center. And we'll just see if we can combine those two just for a few breaths. So, seeing if we can combine that side stretch with the cat-cow. So choosing what side you want to go to first, whatever feels more natural. Starting that side crunch, and then start to inhale through cow. And then as you exhale through cat, start crunching over to the opposite side. And then come into a full cat position. Staying with this side for a few breaths, looking into that side crunch as you inhale through cow, coming through cow center, and then sliding to the other side as you start to come into your cat pose, and then coming into the center of cat pose. Seeing if you can find a rhythm here with your breath, the inhale on cow and the exhales on the cat. And on your next exhale, come back through center, and we'll go to the opposite side. So start on the opposite side, crunching, and then start to inhale through cow. Other side crunch as you exhale through cat. Just going with this on the opposite side. Hopefully it's a little bit more fluid. If this doesn't feel good, you can always go to regular cat-cow. Just 2 more times through your breath. Inhaling, expanding, and exhaling, squeezing it out. And then coming through stillness here. And then bringing your knees close together, maybe touching, and your feet close together here. And start to sit your hips back into a close-legged child pose here. Releasing or walking your hands forward. Releasing your head to the ground, any amount. Breathing here. Let your elbows touch down on the ground. Interlace your fingers behind your head. And then just let the weight of your hands bring your head closer to the ground, any amount, using your elbows as brakes. If you add too much weight to your neck, go ahead and prop your hands back up, or let them spread out and fall down. Finding a stretch that's right for you. One more big belly breath in here. As you exhale, release it, walking your hands back towards the front of the mat. Starting to curl your toes under, shifting your weight forward, and then pressing into your hands and your feet to shift your hips up and back into a downward facing dog here. Pressing into the hand and the feet. Reach in your chest towards the ground. Let your head hang heavy. Keeping your knees bent here, any amount. Support your hamstrings and your low back. And then start to walk your hands back to your feet. Keeping your feet about hips width distance. Maybe paralleling them if that's right for you. And staying here in a forward fold. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows for a little ragdoll. Maybe interlacing your fingers behind your head like we did in child's pose, wrapping your elbows towards your ears, and adding a little extra weight for a neck stretch. Breathing here. Maybe start to engage through the legs to work on straightening them. Keeping any bend you need in your legs. Then release your hands down to the ground. Whenever you were holding, release it. We're going to inhale for a half lift. Bring your fingertips to your shins. Try to make a 90-degree angle with your hips, reaching your head away from your hips. And then exhale, fold, release. We're going to roll up the spine here, head last. So coming up to standing slowly with that rounded back, coming up and stacking one vertebrae on top of the other. Taking your time here, finding any kinks. And then once your head is stacked above the rest of your body, we're going to come into Tadasana, our mountain standing pose, keeping your feet hips width distance, or walk your feet together, toes touch, heels slightly apart. Pressing down through the feet to engage through the legs. Release your butt muscles slightly so that you can engage your lower hip bones towards your lower ribs. And expand through the chest, rolling those shoulders away from each other as you reach the sternum up to the sky. Release your hands down by your side and engage those arms. Standing tall here, notice if you can feel a line of energy from your ear, through your shoulders, your hips, down to your heels. Finding that long line, stacking your joints on top of each other. And then keeping your body where it is, go ahead and inhale your arms out and up overhead for your Urdhva Hastasana. Bend your knees to exhale and swan dive down, releasing into a forward fold here on your exhale. And then as you inhale, start to come into that half lift, reaching your chest forward. And then as you exhale, go ahead and walk your hands back to the front of your mat, coming into your downward facing dog. At the bottom of your next exhale, go ahead and walk your feet up to meet your hands. Inhaling for that half lift. Exhaling, fold. This time, maybe keeping a long spine here, inhaling yourself up to standing with arms overhead. Exhaling, releasing your arms down by your sides. Inhaling, sweeping your arms up and overhead. Exhaling, bending your knees to hinge at your hips and fold forward. Inhaling for that half lift. And then exhale, plant your hands and step back into a plank position. Knees up or down in your plank position. We're going to shift into a low push-up position. Maybe keeping your elbows tucked in towards your ribs, just brushing your ribs. Or keeping them out to a regular push-up. And then releasing your torso down to the ground. Walking your fingertips back underneath your shoulders towards your, in line with your nipples here. Pressing into the tops of your feet, maybe bringing your feet closer together. Engaging your abdominal muscles to press your hips into the ground. And as you inhale on your next breath, roll those shoulders back and down as you peel your chest up away from the floor. Inhaling here. And then exhale, release your head to the ground. And bring both arms out to a T in line with your shoulders. Palms face down on the ground if that's all right with your shoulders. If you don't have enough space, you can always cactus your arms, bending them at the elbows. If you've got enough space though, spread them out. And then start to walk your left fingertips back in towards your left shoulder. And press that hand into the ground to peel the left side of your body off the mat. Keeping that right hand pressing into the ground behind you, maybe stacking your legs on top of each other. For this shoulder stretch, maybe reaching that left arm up to the sky and then back. If you need more, go ahead and bend that left knee and plant it behind your hips. Breathing here. And then on your next inhale, slowly coming out of it the way you came into it, releasing the leg, releasing the arm, and starting to slowly roll yourself back onto your belly. Reaching both arms out to a T again. Left ear towards the ground here. Start to walk those right fingertips into your shoulder, pressing into that right hand to peel your left or your right side off the mat any amount. Maybe stacking your legs on top of each other. If you need more, reaching that right arm up to the sky, over. If you still need more, bending that right knee and planting that right foot beside your hips. Breathing here. One more full breath in. And as you inhale on your next breath, slowly unwind the way you came into it. Release your leg, release your hand, and release your torso, your belly. Down, back to the ground. Bring your fingertips back under your shoulder, in line with your nipples here, setting up for your low cobra. Or if you are ready for an upward facing dog, pressing into your hands and your feet. Inhaling to peel your chest off the ground, starting in low cobra. Maybe staying here, or maybe pressing into your hands to bring your torso off the ground. Only your hands and your feet touch in your upper facing dog. We're going to stay here wherever you are in low cobra or upper facing dog for a moment. And start to look over your left shoulder. Find a little stretch to the right side body. And coming back to the center, look over your right shoulder. You do that a few more times, or you can go back to downward facing dog when you're ready. And let's all meet in downward facing dog. Breathing here. And then our next exhale, bring that right knee in towards your chest, bringing it in between your hands here, planting your right foot on the ground in between your hands, and start to release that left knee to the ground, coming into a low lunge. Staying here, or bringing your hands to your right thigh to bring your torso upright. Staying here, or if you'd like, reach that left hand, sweep it around back behind you, and bring that left foot towards your butt, and go ahead and grab that foot for a nice thigh stretch. Maybe grabbing that foot with both hands, maybe shifting your weight forward to get a nice quad stretch. We're staying here in the lunge. Wherever you are, inhale a long spine. One more breath. And then slowly release your foot if you've had it. Coming back to your low lunge. And then release your right hand to the outer edge of your right foot, or the inner edge if you can't bring it to the outer edge. Whichever side of your foot you want. Pressing that right hand into the ground. Start to reach that left arm up to the sky here. Any amount. Maybe reach it over your left ear for a little baby low lunge side angle. Breathing here for one more moment. And exhale, release that left hand to the ground. And we'll just release that with a low lunge twist, bringing your right arm up to the sky. Just for one breath here. And as you exhale, bring your right hand to frame your right foot, tucking those left toes under, and then stepping your right foot back to meet your left. If you'd like to flow through a vinyasa or shift right back into downward facing dog. Exhaling through your low push-up, chaturanga. Inhaling through your upward facing dog or your low cobra. And then exhaling to downward facing dog. On your next exhale, start to bring that left knee into your chest, shifting it forward, and then planting your left foot in between your hands, releasing that right knee into the ground, maybe untucking the toes, setting up for low lunge on this left side. Maybe staying here, maybe bringing your hands to your left thigh to bring your torso upright. Maybe staying here, or maybe adding that quad stretch, reaching your left hand back behind you, popping that right foot up towards your butt to grab Staying here, or maybe grabbing it with the right hand as well. Breathing wherever you are. Two more breaths. And slowly release that foot if you have it. As my knee cracks. And then bring your left hand on the inside or the outside of the foot, whatever feels best for you. And start to bring that right arm up to the ceiling. If you have to press your hand into the ground to get your belly or your boob off your thigh, go for it. Maybe reach your hand towards the front of the room. Just one more breath here. And then exhale, release that right hand down to the ground on the inside of your left foot. And we'll just spin open, bringing the left hand up to the sky. Just for one breath. And then exhale, release your left hand, tuck those right toes under. You can always step back to downward facing dog, or if you want to flow through another vinyasa, exhaling through your push-up, inhaling through your upward facing dog, and then exhaling to your downward facing dog. Breathing here for a moment. And then looking forward in between your hands, go ahead and bring that right knee into your chest, stepping that right foot in between your hands. Releasing your left heel, spinning it down to the ground, and then maybe walking it in slightly, trying to set up heel to arch alignment for warrior two. Right heel in line with your left arch. Take a look. And then turn those toes in slightly. Bending through that right knee. Inhaling, starting with your left hand to circle your way up through warrior two. Breathing here for a moment. Wrapping that right butt underneath you. Engaging through that long, straight back left leg, arms out to a T. And then start to drop your left hand to your hip or wrap it around your lower back as you inhale your right arm up and over for a reverse warrior. Inhaling back through center to warrior two, both arms out to a T. Release that right elbow to your right thigh. Start to bring that left arm up to the sky, maybe overhead, in line with your ear. In this version of the pose, really use that right elbow to try to spin your chest up to the sky. Keeping in your warrior two stance. Breathing into the side body here. And then inhale your way back to warrior two. Start to straighten that front right leg. And then just start to shift your hips back to the left. Bring your arms out to a T. Pressing through that front right big toe so much that you find a lot of energy through the back of the leg. Start to shift your weight forward in your torso, reaching those right hands forward, and then releasing the back of your hand anywhere along your right leg. spinning your chest up, reaching that left arm up to the sky. Here for your triangle pose, extended triangle. Maybe reaching that left arm overhead, taking the triangle variation. For that lateral stretch. Breathing here for one more breath. And then on your next exhale, bend through that front right knee. And then you can bring your elbow back to your right thigh, or if you can,